Hello, everybody. I think this is all. And next lecture will be from Mary Gutbub, from the name I Come in Peace. And let's hear what she has to say about it. One big applause for her.
The first time I entered a hackerspace, I was wearing a pink, really long skirt with glitter. I didn't plan to go to a hackerspace on that night, but somehow kind of forced me because he said it was a shame that I hadn't been there yet. When I entered the hackerspace, it looked amazing. There were all these lights and these blinking objects, these weird things and devices. There was music, and there was a bunch of really drunk white men in the middle of the room. As I was really curious, I asked someone to give me a tour of the space. He showed me around the labs, the workshops, all the devices, and the members area, which is probably the most amazing room in the world for me. When I saw this room, I was pretty sure I want to stay here. I want to use this room to work. I want to hang out there. It was a dark room with lots of really small LEDs everywhere, parts of computers on the walls, and lots of stickers. I decided I want to be a member of this space. The guy who gave me the tour took me to his workshop with the group of people who had a tour, and these people were almost all men. There was one other girl, but I think she was someone's girlfriend, so she was not really interesting for the guy who gave me the tour. And he started to talk to me, only to me, kind of ignoring the rest of the group. And he talked to me a lot, and as I was really curious, I asked him a lot of questions, and how could I become a member, for example. But at some point, I felt like it was a little bit creepy that he would just talk to me, look at me all the time. So I decided to go back, find my friend, and I didn't find him, so I was left alone in that space with all these drunk guys. I went to the bar, and at the bar, there was this other guy, and I was like, kind of weird guy with a really intense look. And he was leaning on the bar with one shoulder, and when I ordered a drink, he just raised his glass to me and said, "So, how do two women have sex together?" I was like, "What? Why would you ask me this?" I'm not even looking like a lesbian. I have this skirt with all this glitter. I'm looking super girly. What's on your mind? Why are you doing this? And he explained me, well, he likes lesbian, and there's not a lot of women here, so he thought he would ask me. And I started trolling him a lot, because what else could I do? And I asked him about two men having sex. He said, no, I'm conservative. This is not good. But I like watching lesbians having sex, so please explain to me. You're a woman. You probably know how to do that. At that point, the first guy, the one who gave me the tour, the creepy one, just stood a few meters away from us. And he was kind of watching us, but not approaching us. And I felt it was really weird, so I was sticking to the lesbian fan because he looked less creepy, even if what he was doing was quite creepy too, actually. And when the lesbian fan left to get another beer, because obviously he was not drunk enough, the first guy came back to me, sat next to me, and said, "Now it's my turn." I left the place, and I thought a lot. I didn't know what to do because I really wanted to become a member. I really wanted to stay in this place. I really wanted to use it. I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to work with these people. But also, I didn't want to accept this behavior. I didn't feel like I could deal with that on a daily basis. So I thought a lot, and I decided that I'll go back because I have the right to use this space, even if I'm a woman. And I had done nothing wrong. The person who did something wrong were obviously these two guys. Should I punish myself for being a woman? So I decided to be one of these persons who stay in the hackerspace, even if they're not totally welcome for some people, and who maybe will change things at some point because they stayed. When I tell this story, some people say, yes, it's an exception. These guys were drunk, and you just had bad luck. But then, why do such things happen so often? Last year, I went to Bulgaria to give free workshops on encryption in 2 hackerspaces. In the first hackerspace, I had an amazing experience, really respectful. In the second hackerspace, everything went wrong. First, before I even arrived, people asked whose girlfriend I was. Because obviously, 3 guys and a woman traveling to teach encryption, that can't be 4 people teaching encryption. That's 3 guys teaching encryption and some girlfriend hanging out around with them. When I arrived there, we started organizing the workshop, and they simply didn't listen to me. It was really obvious, and I'm not the person who noticed that. The guys who were traveling with me noticed that first. I left the organization part and thought I'll just help at the workshop. And at the workshop, I think 50% of women entered, so I was like, yeah, this is actually good. Maybe some guys at the space are not okay, but people are coming and women are coming, so we'll teach women. And then I noticed that no woman had brought a computer. Men came with their computers to learn encryption, and they brought their girlfriends who were supposed to wait there. So I spent the whole workshop talking with the girlfriends, trying to explain them encryption and why they should do it too, why it's not only for their hacker boyfriends. I'm not the only one who has experienced such things. At another workshop, a woman came in. She was a really tiny, shy woman. And she had taught herself email encryption, chat encryption, and Tor alone in her room. She had even read the crypto party handbook, which I, as a crypto party organizer, haven't done. She was really amazing, and we convinced her that she had the right to teach too. So later I saw her. She was mastering the art of teaching PGP to a bunch of men who were respectfully listening to her. Everything looked great, until one man entered the room. He arrived too late and just decided, oh, here there's a table that's led by women. That's not okay. And he took over the table, and later he told me he saved the table because she was not able to explain encryption. How can we expect women to join the tech scene if this is their first experience? To go back to my hackerspace experience, when I decided to refuse to be one of these women who want to be part of the scene but feel like it's not a place for them because they're women, when I decided to be there every day, it became normal at some point. But I could still notice differences. For example, I really like playing with clothes. Like one day I'll look maybe really girly, and the other day I'll have baggy pants. And I could notice how the guys would react differently to me. For example, if I'd come wearing leather shorts, when I entered, I'd get this kind of, whoa, when I entered, and like 10 guys doing that makes a lot of noise. Whether when I just come like this, they're like, hi, how are you doing? What are you working on? I also learned a little bit later that there's a big debate about me at this hackerspace. Am I a lesbian or not? Because if I wear this, I'm obviously lesbian. But on the next day, I wear a mini skirt, I'm not. So I don't stick to their roles, and I'm supposed to stick to one of them so they know if they can flirt with me or not, because there's not a lot of women in the hackerspace, so they should know. I also notice that people act differently around you based on your clothes. If you're girly, the conversation level would be less technical. For example, on the day where I became a member, I got my password, and then they showed me how to log in the internet there because they have a special network. And how they showed to me was like, oh, so there is some kind of certificate thing, and you should have it to log in, but try without it. Just type in your password, and we'll see. And it worked. So they're like, ha, 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 her Ubuntu computer that works without CI cert. Amazing. And a few weeks later, I helped a male friend of mine to become a member, and he doesn't particularly look like he's a nerd. He's also really young. But they started talking to him like this. So there is a CA cert, and you should download it from there, and do you know how to do that, and blah, blah, blah. Explain him everything, and then let him do it alone. That's the difference between a man and a woman, how you're treated. There's another thing that's really interesting as a woman is when you give a talk. As I've been playing with clothes a lot and I noticed these different behaviors, I started wondering, am I going to be taken seriously if I have a talk in a miniskirt? Or maybe I just need to dress like a nerd, like I'm part of it. Friends mostly encourage me to come with pants because they want me to be taken seriously. I'm not sure this is the right thing to do. I'm not sure because this shouldn't matter. When I'm on stage, I want people to take me seriously as a human being because I have something to say. And you can hate what I say if you want, but not my gender. The way I dress shouldn't have any influence on your opinion on me. I guess, rationally, a lot of you probably agree, but would you have taken me seriously if I would come up on stage dressed like this? Imagine a woman coming to do a talk on tech on this. Would you honestly take her seriously immediately? You should. Would you have listened to the stories I told you in the same way about the guys talking to me if I would have shown up like this? Or would you have said, she was looking for it? Would you ask questions about tech, about encryption to a woman who wears this? I have not been part of this scene for a very long time, less than 2 years. My technical skills are not the best. I can't program. But I don't want to hear that this is okay. When the same people who say this is okay make jokes about their male friends who can't program. I don't want people to expect less from me because I'm a woman. I once did a really stupid thing. I was really tired, and I played around with gparted, and I kind of erased my main encrypted partition. As I had a backup, it was not a big problem. The only thing I lost was the state file for an encryption, a communication software called Pond. You can't restore that because the keys keep changing, and I had to tell all my friends I had lost their contact. And I told that to one guy who is using Pond a lot, and I told him why and how I had lost it. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh my God, you're the first woman who could explain this to me." This compliment, I don't want it. There is no tech for men and no tech for women. I want people to expect me to know as much as I do. And if I don't understand something, it is because I studied journalism and language and literature and not computer science. Not because I'm a woman, and that is not written on my face. So you're going to say, but your talk is called I Come in Peace, and now you're just accusing us again? I do come in peace. I don't want war with men. And I know with men, I'm not saying all men. And I don't think aggressive attacks from some feminist groups towards men will make things better. I have a friend who writes a new social media that wouldn't sell data. He wrote a manifesto about it. And a big part of the bullshit he gets on Twitter is for not having included a statement that he supports women and queer people in his manifesto about tech. This is not okay. There is a necessity to acknowledge the problems I described to you before, but we don't need to attack people when we don't know if they're doing something wrong or not. I once participated in something that you might have seen on Twitter. There was this picture. There were 8 photos of men, white men, Julian Assange, Jacob Appelbaum, Barrett Brown, Chelsea Manning as Bradley, and in the middle there was written, "Courage is contagious." And I participated in something that my friend Gillian York started. She asked me to replace these 8 pictures of men with 8 pictures of women with different skin colors. I agreed because it made sense to show that these were only men. But now, I think this is wrong. And I'm really sorry for Gillian that I say that. We shouldn't have replaced the pictures. We should have added them and mixed them. Because her saying courage has many faces, which replaced courage is contagious, has men's faces as well. The only picture I would actually have erased from a man is Bradley Manning's picture that I would have replaced with the Chelsea Manning picture, because that was really wrong. Courage has many faces, and white men are part of it too. Hi guys, I come in peace. If you acknowledge the problems I described earlier, I come in peace. If you are able to work with me on an equal basis, I'd rather work with you than against you. We have enough problems. We have enough other problems to solve. Let's not fight. It is necessary to say that hackerspace people can be not okay to women. When I wrote an article about women in tech for a major German newspaper, I was writing that in a hackerspace, and the guys asked me, what are you writing about? I was obviously wearing baggy pants, because they wouldn't have asked me if I was wearing a miniskirt. And some of the guys got really scared when I said I'm writing about women in tech. Because these guys had been attacked so often as a hackerspace. The hackerspace has been attacked so many times because of drawings on the walls, because of whatever, that they're scared, and then they become aggressive. Because sometimes we, women, are the ones who are aggressive. I once organized an encryption workshop for women. I normally don't do that. I hate it. I think we should never separate women from men in tech. Let's work together, as I said. And it was maybe 12 journalist women who wanted to learn encryption. And they got this location. That was a women's bar, and a guy organized a workshop with me, so we thought they knew some guys will come to teach. And when the first guy entered the place, he was kicked out. He was shouted at in a really aggressive way by women, even if he was there to empower women by trying to help them to use encryption and to teach them something. This is as wrong as the aggressivity from men towards women is. As a woman, I can tell you that being in the tech scene is not always easy. Some things really need to change, and these changes will not be accomplished through a war. What we need is an in-depth social change, a change on which we all need to work together, a change that needs and deserves efforts from us all to be accomplished. And this change, I can already see it happening, because the first story of my first day in the hackerspace that I told you is not as bad as it sounds. These guys were two guys. When I told the other guys this story, most of them reacted in a really good way. One of them told me he had been watching me all the time when I was with these weird guys. And he thought I was doing really well. So he was just watching. In case something bad happens, he would have protected me. But he felt like seeing me trolling these guys was better than defending me like I would need help. Other guys just told me, please inform us when something happens. We want to know. And if ever something happens like this again, we'll do something about it, or if just inform us. I have also noticed how relieved some men are that I didn't hate them because of what their friends did. The problem in the tech scene is not all men. The problem in the tech scene is a few men, and feminists should understand that. I have been working in the last months with amazing men who understood better than anyone else the need for women to be a visible part of the tech scene. For example, I worked on this Netzpolitik thing, the case where two journalists have been accused of high treason in Germany and were about to be judged for that. And I set up a campaign for that with a man who is really famous, and he made sure my name is written always at first, because he wanted it to look like the campaign is led by a woman. He also refused me to get other men engaged in our group because he didn't want a male-dominated group. Another guy I've been working with for security trainings, who is a professional speaker at conferences, offered me to give up talks, so I just stand on stage, because he wanted women to teach encryption and security to men. These are men I love to work with, and I'm pretty sure that there are no exceptions. I hope there are not, because this kind of collaborations as human beings and not as male or female is how we will be able to change things. People, I come in peace. Let's work together. Thank you. I don't know if you want to do a Q&A. If you want to do so, I'd like to invite all women who are in the room to join and answer with me if you want, or if anyone wants to share a story. I'm not the only female experience in that room. Anyone? Be less shy, women. If you have questions, I can answer.
Is it working? Okay, thank you. Some study found that women would go in high-tech industry if classroom would less geeky. What are your thoughts about that?
If classroom would what? Sorry, I've just didn't...
If classroom would less geeky. For example, you don't have math stuff on tables or something like that.
If there would be less math, I don't understand what you mean. Like, if there would be less math, women would go in tech?
No. If classroom would look like less geeky, for example, less geeky stuff, I don't know, comics or something like that. Some study found.
I think there is a real need to change education, but it's more about adding computer science for everyone, and then it's a social change where women shouldn't hear when they want to study computer science, which happened to friends of me, that they just heard, no, that's for men. Go study something else, for example, history or literature. I think it's more about that.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Oh. Then thank you.